Welcome to ECS 2202, an online course, Causes and Dynamics of International Conflicts. My name is Mathieu Landriault. I'll be your professor for this semester. In this video, we're going to look at the course outline, evaluations, the expectations also for this course. In subsequent videos, of course, we'll start with the material, with the themes and the different topics covered. Just to give a bit of an explanation as to what this course is about or how it fits in the conflict studies program. This course is taught as an introduction to international relations / international politics. So it's taught as a second-year course to give you the basic concepts, basic knowledge on how international relations work, to help you, of course, navigate through third-year and fourth-year courses that deal with international conflicts or conflicts in other contexts than Canada. Okay, so it is taught as kind of an introduction to international relations, if you will, but of course applied to conflicts. We're interested not to look at international relations in general or at political economy or all other aspects, although those are important, but we're interested at looking at international relations, international politics in relation to conflicts, wars, civil wars, interstate wars, and the like. Okay. The way the semester will be structured is in 3 blocks, and that's how I like to conceptualize it. The first block will be made of what I call teams. In those teams, alliances, power, international law, international organization, and intervention, those 5 teams are about giving you the kind of basic rules and basic concepts on how the international system works. Okay, so for example, how power is distributed in the world. What are alliance systems? Okay, how does international law works? Okay, so they kind of give you the foundational knowledge on how it works. Before transitioning to theories, we'll spend 2 lectures on theories, which are kind of broad explanations as to how those teams, how those basic elements function in the international relations. Those are also research agenda. That's how specialists in international relations kind of conceptualize or describe how the world works. So those are kind of meta-narratives on how the world works and how those teams are kind of coordinated and which teams are more important than others, if you will. And then we'll conclude our semester by looking at cases, because that's what I like to do above all else. Yes, you look at the theories, yes, you look at basic concepts, but the question is always, how does those translate into cases, into case studies? We'll look at 2 case studies. We'll look at the inter-Korean conflict and cooperation and conflict in the Arctic region, which is my specialization. So we'll talk about the Arctic region, maybe the lack of conflict, okay, to understand a bit why there's a lack of conflict, but also the inter-Korean conflict, so conflict between South and North Korea. Okay, so that's a bit how it's going to be structured, going from those basic concepts, broad explanations, to more tangible cases. It is an online course, so like all online course, I bet it's not your first one, but just to go through a bit what you need to do and what you need to expect. Of course, you need to know the Virtual Campus Brightspace platform. That's what we're going to use for almost everything, including readings. So if you go back to the course outline, all readings are available on Virtual Campus. I mean, in all cases, those are articles that you can also find in peer-reviewed academic journals that you all have access to through the U of O library. Okay, so you can all find, there's a PDF not working. Of course, you can email me, but you can also just find it on the U of O library website. Okay, those will be put there. Lectures also, so the videos will also be put, of course, on Virtual Campus Brightspace. Almost everything will be put on that platform, so be familiar with it. Videos, marking grid, the marking grid also for the kind of final assessment will also be there. When I mark your assignments, whether it's an exam or an assignment, it's all going to be also put on Virtual Campus. So maybe one thing to remember, make sure to know how to access your assignment for Dropbox to submit your assignment, but also to find comments and marks. Okay, so it's usually, typically you go in course schedule and then full schedule, you have the list of all assignments, whether they're past or whether they are in the future. For evaluations now, because often as a student, I know we're interested in evaluations. 4 evaluations for this semester. The first one, which is the kind of smallest one, I'll ask you to work on 2 research assignments. Each is worth 10%. I give you specific questions. You have them here. They're also in the course outline. So for each assignment, I ask you to do a very specific research task. So on the first one, for example, we're going to look at international law, international organization. I ask you, find the arguments of a supporter of the International Criminal Court, which is an international organization, and one that opposes it. And tell me which one is more persuasive, or which one would you side with, make more sense. Okay, so that's the type of assignment I want you to do for those small research assignments. Each assignment is between 1 to 2 pages, so those are not extremely long research assignments. They're specific, they're pinpointed, and basically you do them, you present the 2 plans, for example, you give your opinion, and you make sure to put a bibliography. Make sure to put the references of the articles that you used, right? That were used to do this paper, like you would do for any research paper, basically. You always need a bibliography to document where you took the information, okay? Deadline for this, the first one of our semester, is February 10th, all day. So I typically put 11:59 p.m., so all day to submit those 2 short research assignment. We're 20% in total, so when they add up. Okay. Other evaluations, well, we'll have 2 exams. One midterm exam, we're 20%. It's going to be a take-home exam, so it's going to be made of essay questions. I'll post the questions online on Virtual Campus Brightspace on February 25th at 9 a.m. And you will have 3 full days. Okay, so that's kind of a long time. You need to adjust your time. 3 full days to do the assignment. Okay, modules 1 to 5 will be covered by this. So not the entire semester, although all videos will be posted on Virtual Campus. For the midterm exam, only module 1 to 5. So look in the course outline. That's international law, power, alliances, international organizations, and international interventions, our teams, if you will. The other exam will be a final exam, again, at the end of the semester. Worth a bit more. This one is cumulative, so it covers the entire semester. Same kind of process. I'll put the question online on Virtual Campus, April 7, 9 a.m. You'll have 3 full days again to come up with your answers to those essay questions. You submit. Midterm and final exams are submitted on Virtual Campus as well on the Dropbox. Okay, I only accept documents in Word, PDF, or OpenOffice. So make sure you submit a document in the proper format. I don't accept .page extension or documents or any other format. Only OpenOffice, PDF, or Word documents. Okay, and that's just to open them. The use of access is facilitated. Okay, almost kind of makes up all of our evaluation. One more, the kind of research project, maybe one that will take the longest time to do because it requires research. 8 to 10 pages. Think of it as kind of a final paper type of assignment. I asked you in this one, due at the end of the semester, so April 6th, at the end of the day. I ask you, and that's just a copy-paste from the course outline, okay, for the 3rd bullet point there. I ask you, pick a conflict, okay? any conflict except the inter-Korean conflict and the Arctic region, because those will be covered during our semester. Those are the cases we focus on. So don't pick these two. There are more than a lot to pick from. Pick one and do a bit of research on what the violent conflict is about. It needs to be a conflict of an international nature, so think civil war or between two states. Could be one that is raging right now or that was raging in the past. And explain how 3 of the 5 teams we've covered in class, in the video lectures, can explain the dynamics, can explain the persistence, the cause, and the evolution of the conflict you picked. So, I don't know, you picked the Syrian civil war. Well, explain how power has something to do with it. Explain how alliances between different countries could explain what we saw in the evolution of the Syrian civil war, for example. Explain the role that international organizations play or not played in that conflict. Okay, so it's about making sense of the conflict you researched on with 3 of those teams to see what they could explain. Okay, of the kind of development or what happened, okay, the events that unfolded during these conflicts. You have online, there's already a marking grid there to tell you what I'm looking for and how the mark will be assigned for this assignment in particular. Okay, so if you have questions about this assignment, make sure to send me an email. Go in the course outline, okay, to see what's required from you for this assignment. Okay, concludes the evaluation. Maybe just a few notes before we conclude on services and things you have access to here. I know it's a repetition of what you've heard in other classes probably, but just to reiterate what you have access to here, there's a Student Success Center that you can have help in academic writing, doing references, for example. If you don't know how, you're unsure, go to the Student Success Center. They could help you. There's some mentorship of assistant there that could help you do a proper bibliography or do proper academic writing of your paper, especially the analytical assignment. If you have an accommodation, okay, either for a physical or mental disability, or learning disability, make sure that you know which accommodations you have access to through the access service here and at the University of Ottawa. I would reiterate that academic fraud is always monitored. Make sure you know what constitutes plagiarism, what constitutes academic fraud. On this matter especially, you cannot plead ignorance and you cannot plead that you didn't know. You're supposed to know the rules and regulations. Make sure that you're aware and that you can avoid plagiarizing in your paper or exam. Okay, especially important for an online course. I would also reiterate that you have access. It is your right to ask for a mark revision. So if you're not satisfied with the mark that I gave you, and even after I gave you the explanation, you still think your paper or your assignment was worth more, you can ask for a mark revision by the Faculty of Human Science. It is your right, so be aware also and be informed about your right. This is one of them that you have as a student. If you miss, because we're online, if you miss an exam or you have unfortunate circumstances that prevent you from writing one of the 2 exams or submitting the assignment, and you want to ask for an extension, I repeat again, you can ask me and you can inform me, but I do not grant extension. You need to ask the Faculty of Human Sciences for accommodation when you have unexpected circumstances arising that would prevent you from doing these. Before you do this, of course, make sure that you were aware of Academic Regulation 9.5. This is the academic regulation at the University of Ottawa that still applies here at St. Paul that regulates what is accepted as a valid reason to seek an extension and what is deemed an invalid reason to seek an accommodation. Make sure you're aware before you start all of this and you ask for extension or accommodation that it fits within academic regulation 9.5. If so, by all means, ask the faculty. I do not grant, I repeat, I do not grant extension, but if you are entitled to those, I mean, by all means, make the necessary contact to have them. So I'll conclude on that note for the course outline. Make sure you always refer to the course outline. This is kind of our contract, okay? And I hope we'll have a great semester.